Once upon a time, in a bustling city filled with towering skyscrapers and busy streets, there lived a poor beggar named James. He was a frail man with tired eyes and tattered clothes, who spent his days sitting on a street corner, holding out a cup in the hope of receiving a few coins from passers-by. James had fallen on hard times after losing his job and his family's support. He had no home to call his own, and life had dealt him a series of unfortunate events that left him in dire straits. Despite his hardships, James tried to maintain a glimmer of hope, believing that someone, somewhere, would extend a helping hand to lift him out of his misery. As the days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, James continued to sit on that same street corner, watching the world rush by. He would smile at those who glanced his way, hoping to evoke some compassion, but most people simply ignored him or hurriedly passed by, lost in their own worlds and concerns. Every now and then, a person would toss a few coins into his cup, but it was never enough to bring about significant change in his circumstances. With each passing day, James's hope waned, and the bitterness of neglect gnawed at his soul. Unbeknownst to James, the city was grappling with a rising sense of apathy and indifference towards those in need. As the city grew and its people became more absorbed in their daily struggles, they inadvertently began to overlook the plight of those less fortunate. They became desensitized to the suffering around them, as if poverty had become an invisible wall separating them from the harsh realities faced by people like James. The city's relentless pursuit of progress and success had unfortunately overshadowed its sense of compassion and community. People were too busy chasing their own dreams, dealing with their own problems, or feeling overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of societal challenges. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the city, a young woman named Emily happened to pass by James's usual spot. Unlike most others, Emily wasn't preoccupied with her own worries. She was a social worker, dedicated to helping the homeless and disadvantaged. As she approached James, she noticed his weariness and the pain in his eyes. But instead of merely dropping some coins, she stopped, crouched down beside him, and struck up a conversation. Emily learned about his struggles, his dreams that had faded into distant memories, and his longing for a better life. Overwhelmed with empathy, Emily resolved to do more than just offer some spare change. She decided to involve her social work organization, spreading awareness about James and the many others who needed assistance. Together with her team, they reached out to local shelters, welfare programs, and concerned citizens to address the issue of homelessness in the city. Emily's actions sparked a ripple effect. Slowly but surely, people began to take notice and started volunteering their time and resources to help the less fortunate. The city's sense of community was rekindled, and the walls of indifference began to crumble. As word spread, some of the passers-by who had once ignored James started to acknowledge him with smiles and encouraging words. And just as he had hoped for all along, more and more people extended their helping hands to him. With the combined efforts of Emily's organization and the growing support of the community, James found a safe place to stay, received proper medical attention, and was provided with opportunities to rebuild his life. He regained his sense of self-worth and purpose, and he no longer felt invisible or neglected. In the end, James's story became a turning point for the city. The once ignored beggar had become a symbol of hope and compassion. His tale reminded everyone that even the smallest acts of kindness could make a profound difference in someone's life. From that moment on, the city vowed to be more attentive to the needs of the less fortunate and to cultivate a culture of empathy and support for all its citizens.